Good morning, good afternoon, or even good evening. Right now, you're looking at the intersection of Lomas Boulevard and San Pedro Drive. And today is the day where I'll be sharing a little bit more of my personal life. And this is the perfect place to do it because it's busy and it's getting hotter, just like myself here at Go Power. Okay. What's up, YouTube world? What's going on? What's happening? Good morning, good afternoon, or even good evening. I'm right here, man, on the intersection of San Pedro and Lomas Boulevard today. And I thought I'd take the time to just go ahead and, check in with you guys and share a little bit more of my story, my personal life, my previous work experience. I don't know if you guys get this already about me, man, but I'm one of those guys that like to be outside, man. I love being outside. I love being outdoors, man. So, this is what you're getting right now. I'm in front of the expo and the intersection of San Pedro and Lomas Boulevard. It's a Friday morning. I'm supposed to deliver this on a Thursday, but you know what, y'all? I think I might end up changing it to a Friday. It's just a busy world that we living in and that I'm living in as well. So, you guys might actually start seeing this on a Friday or even a Saturday morning, whatnot, man, as far as me catching up with you guys on a personal level, So, okay, so we're right here. The story last week, I was talking to you guys about, I had already had my apartment, but I was talking to you guys about the goal of getting a car, and I had found a car on Craigslist. I had got a new job at TH Foods in Rockford, Illinois, aka Loves Park, located on the far northeast side of Rockford, Illinois. And so I ended up getting that new job, and I was making quite a bit of money. So it's very easy for me to go ahead and be like, you know what? Hey, it's time to get this car, man. So I ended up getting a 98 Bonneville, original color, evergreen, with the original stock rims and all that stuff there, man. A 98 Bonneville. I think it had about 180,000. No, matter of fact, I think it had about 200,000 miles on it. Man, it was still good though, man. They took care of it. So, where I'm gonna start today, man, I ain't gonna take you guys too far. I'm talking about the story that I'm sharing with you all is in 2015. I'm just gonna, right now, where the story is, I'm in September of 2015. I got an apartment, I got a car. So now it's time to I'm just gonna kind of like close it up for 2015 as far as what that experience was for me, having a car and having that same job at TH Foods, right? We're gonna get right into it. So I guess the first thing I'll start with is when I got this car, I didn't quite have a license, y'all. I didn't have a license at all, right? I did not have a license when I got this car. In fact, I thought my license was forever suspended because it was supposed to be like a $9,000 bill or whatnot that I had, man, because I had crashed my mother's car after she passed away. She had an Escort wagon, a 95 Escort wagon, and I was running from the repo, man. I had crashed the car. So, and this was in Dixon, Illinois, and they play a rough game down there, man. So they had my license tied up forever after that incident, man. So I didn't really have a license. So when I was in Rockford, I was like, man, I was gonna drive regardless if I had a license or not. That was my mentality. That was my focus. Like, man, I'm not gonna let nobody stop me. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to go to work. I'm just trying to take care of some things here and there. But I knew I couldn't really return to Dixon if I didn't get this license together, man. So yeah, man, I ended up checking into it. Only because it was the right thing to do as far as like, I knew I didn't have no chance in hell going to Dixon with no license, right? So it was just the right thing to do. Plus, I was still, my relationship at that time was just kind of friends with Nia, the young lady that I told you about that I went to school with. Her father was a pastor, whatnot. And of course, I was still good friends with her dad. So her dad even encouraged me to say, hey, Emmanuel, why don't you go and check on that? Just make the phone call with the DMV here in Rockford and then the DMV in Springfield and just kind of find out. But first, check with Springfield, man, because they the one that got the real information on what you need. So that's what I did, man. I called Springfield, and Springfield told me the best news I ever heard in regards to my license, man, right? They told me, they said, listen, all you need, sir, is to get you an SR22, and then all you need from that point is to, go to the DMV in the city that you're located in and get your license updated from there. That's it. So when they told me that, and they also told me, they said, all I need to pay on it to get it reinstated right there with them. Matter of fact, that's what it was. I had to get it reinstated right there on the phone with them. And the bill was only like $150. Man, I paid that right there. I paid that right there on the phone, $150, got that shit out the way. And my license was reinstated right there, y'all. All I had to do was get an SR22 from there, you know what I mean, to make it legit. So that was the greatest news ever for me, man, because now I knew for sure I didn't have to look over my shoulder when I was driving. I didn't have to look over my shoulder. Everything was all good, right? So, moving forward, I was still working and whatnot, and I was working at TH Foods, and the job was going good and everything, man. I was making quite a bit of money over there, and it was so crazy, man, how things come along 360. Just in life in general, man. But in regards to me having this car, the guys that were taking me to work, there's one guy by the name of Ray. He was carpooling me and another guy to work. How you doing, man? He was carpooling me and another guy to work. And when I got my car, tables turned. He ended up having car issues, and I ended up being the one to take Ray and this other gentleman that worked. We all worked at TH Foods to work. We were working we were working second shift. We were working third shift. We were working 9 to 5 in the morning, 9 at night to 5 in the morning. So it was very interesting, man, to see the tables turn, and I'm the one that's returning the favor and getting guys to work, including myself. It really felt good, man. That's like, I had to share that, man, because that was just one of those things, man, where it was just like, it felt good, man. It felt good to be in position, to be taking care of myself independently as far as when it comes to the rides, and then, helping other people out, man. So that was cool right there. The other thing was relationship-wise. With me and Nia. Me and Nia, man, we were, like I said, we were just friends, and we were, I don't know what it is about me, man, but, I be hoping that I could go all the way with a woman, especially at this particular point in my life, but I'm also in pursuit of, my goals and my dreams. So I don't know, I just had wishful thinking about me and Nia, but me and Nia, man, were nowhere really compatible in that sense. But again, I was still rocking with her, she was still rocking with me. Nia was, she had quite a few other friends, we'll say friends. She had quite a few other guy friends that she was juggling along with myself, so it really wasn't no real chemistry that could have been bonded between me and Nia. But I was still rolling with her, man, because, you know, it was convenient, man. It was convenient, right? What else, man? As far as me getting in touch with my son and letting him know that I had got this vehicle and stuff, I had let him know that. I had let his mother know that, you know what I'm saying, that I had got this vehicle and everything was looking up and that I'd be seeing him soon. My grandmother especially was very excited about me getting this car and being able to make my way back and forth to Dixon, especially getting my license all sorted out, right? So, I'm gonna give it to y'all straight, man. The first time that I had got a chance to see my son, I went to a basketball game. My son was playing basketball. All right, he was playing basketball. My son was a little dude, man. He was a little guy, very, very tiny little guy, courtesy of his mother being a vegan and kind of enforcing the vegan lifestyle on our son as well. So he was a little smaller guy, right? But he was quick and whatnot and all that stuff there. And basketball was something that I loved growing up. And it was something that, you know, as parents, man, you all that play sports as parents, you kind of wish the same thing for your kids, that they'll be athletic, you know, hopefully in the same thing that you love, the same sport that you love. But a lot of times, you know, those kids wind up choosing their own thing in their own lane. So for right now, at the moment, he was doing basketball. So it's basketball season, y'all, you know, all across the board, whether it's professionally, NBA, college, whatever. It's getting ready to go down. It's late October. Basketball season has begun, right? So I get word that my son has a basketball game over in Byron, Illinois. And Byron, Illinois it goes Dixon, then it goes Oregon, and then it goes Byron. And then after Byron is Rockford, Illinois, right? So my son had a game over in Byron. And Byron is pretty close to Rockford. Like I said, Byron is right before Rockford, right? So when you're traveling westbound on that little Route 2 route, you know, it's not hard to get to. So I decided to go over there on a Saturday afternoon and go check out my son, man, and go check out my son playing basketball and see what that was about, man. This was my first time seeing my son in action, other than me and him when I came home from the penitentiary and I was staying in Dixon, Illinois. And me and him would go to the basketball park down the street at Memorial Pool, man, to shoot a little basketball here and there, right? So, yeah, man, I go up in there. I see my son and his basketball team. They got another game going on the other side of the court. They got two courts going on, two different games going on, 4 different teams total, right? So I'm focused and sitting in the section where my son is playing basketball at and everything. When I come in, the game hasn't quite started yet, but my son is, you know, looking like he is ready to, you know, show up and show out. It's a big day for him just as well as it's a big day for me. You know, I had never attended an event, a sporting event, with my son up until this point, and he had never seen me in a sporting event up until this point, man. So it was a big moment for both of us, man, right there, right? So, yeah, I took the seat, and I was just trying to see what was going on. You know, being patient to see my son get on the floor. I knew he wasn't the starter. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. He wasn't the starter. He was a little guy as well, so he wasn't starting material. He was a work in progress, man, as far as understanding organized basketball. You know what I mean? And that's something that I had a problem with growing up as well. I could play street ball all day long with the best of them, but when it came to organized basketball, the whistle being blown, all that stuff there, man, I just wasn't, you know, I wasn't too fond and too experienced with with being under, you know, under that element, right? So, yeah, man, I'm sitting back, I'm watching my son, the first quarter. Well, I'm watching his team. My son ain't even on the court yet, right? So the first quarter comes up. My son don't play, right? Okay, so I'm sitting back, I'm like, okay, he didn't play that quarter at all right? So I'm gonna sit back. I know he's getting ready to enter the second quarter, right? So eventually he comes in the second quarter. He comes in the second quarter. He plays for about almost 3 minutes, right? Plays for 3 minutes. He's up and down the court playing defense and whatnot. I think he takes a shot or two, and he doesn't make it. He doesn't make his basket, right? So he's a little frustrated, right? He's a little frustrated. I can see it in him. And so when the whistle got blown and it was a timeout or whatnot called by the other team, and my son had approached the bench with his teammates, he kind of had his head down, y'all. And then, you know, he was just really frustrated with his performance. And he may have even been frustrated with his actual team and the atmosphere within his team and his coaching. You know what I mean? And I kind of sensed that, man. And remind you, like, I'm just stepping on the scene trying to figure out what's going on with my son as far as in this sporting world, right? I don't understand or know as much as I should, like his mother does, just about my son in general, right? So I'm telling y'all, man, like, when I seen the frustration on my son's face and he was disappointed about his performance in the whole nine, and even his coach seen it, and I don't know what was going on before that game that day or whatnot, but his coach seen it, and he just kind of like, you know, my son didn't come out for the rest of that quarter, of course, right? So I pretty much, it was halftime, right? Halftime came up a little after my son's performance and stuff. 3 minutes 3 minutes plus on the court. Halftime came up. Now, this is the interesting part, y'all. This is the interesting part, and please, man, you know, I'm just telling y'all my story from a father's perspective, and, you know, just like, I'm just happy to be there, and this is a moment. My son's going through it. He's hanging his head on the bench now. Before halftime, he was hanging his head on the bench. You know, he couldn't look up. You know, his sportsmanship wasn't there. His morale was down. The whole nine. He was heavily disappointed. So I sensed that and seen that. So what did I do? When halftime came, his teammates went towards the locker room. I got off the bleachers there, and I went towards my son, and I snagged him away from going into the locker room with his teammates. Now, was that the worst thing that I could have done? Hell yeah, probably. Hell yeah, that was probably a real fucking dumbass thing to do, right? You know, I'm interfering with, you know, my son's ability to understand that things aren't always going to go his way, and I'm also interrupting the structure of how things are supposed to go. None of the parents are supposed to be hopping up and taking their kids on their own personal halftime session, right? But I did. I chose to, right? So I took my son, right? I took my son into a totally different locker room, and me and him had a little powwow, man. We had a little talk, right? And I told my son, I said, listen, son, I understand you're frustrated. I see this about you, right? And I'm gonna keep it real with you. I told him, I said, man, I'm gonna keep it real with you. You gotta stay focused, and you're gonna have to probably chew it up right now, because me and you in this locker room is interfering with the way that things are supposed to go, and you should be in the other locker room with the rest of your teammates. And I told my son, I said, listen, man, it ain't no guarantee that you're gonna get a chance to play after this, but I had to come in here and let you know, son, that it's gonna be bad days, and it's gonna be good days, man. You're not always gonna hit your basket. You're not always gonna hit your shot, right? I told my son this, man. And I told him, I said, listen, you're gonna have to just hang in there, support your teammates, and when you get the opportunity to go back in that game, which I'm very sure you will get an opportunity to go back in this game, You know, it might not be for long, and it might be a little shorter than what it was the last time you just went in here in the second quarter, which was three plus minutes. But when you do get your opportunity to go back in there, son, I want you to play with your head up and your chin up. And I want you to know that you can do anything you put your mind to. And when I told my son that, man, I shed some tears, man. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I shed some tears. I gave my little man a hug, and I told him with all of my heart, man, I know what the hell you're going through. Because this happened to me. Only difference is I didn't have my dad there to tell me shit. Right? I had to figure that shit out myself. Like I told y'all, I was the greatest on when it came to basketball in the streets. I was the greatest, man. I could do whatever, man. You couldn't fuck with me, man, when I was playing basketball on the playground. You couldn't tell me shit, you know? But when I got into organized basketball, there's a different type of poise, a different type of structure, and a different way of going about things. And it took me a while to understand that. And by the time I got ready to understand that, hey, it was freshman year. My stepfather had passed away, and I was well off into dropping out of school and not being focused like that anymore anyways, right? So it hurt, man, for me to talk to my son and know that I was jeopardizing his moment here and all that stuff there, man. But I felt this pain, man, and I'm the type of person, man, when I feel that pain, man, especially in my own, you know, my own loved ones, my own people, my son, fuck all that, man. I'm getting ready to, you know what I mean? I'm getting ready to address it, and I'm getting ready to, you know what I mean? Like, and that's how I operate. That's how I move, man. So anyways, we came out of that little locker room huddle, me and my son, and, you know, he went back to the bench. He did a little shoot around with his teammates and whatnot and all that stuff there. I sat down where I was at, watching the game. Mind y'all, I did not know that, I thought I was the only one there. I did not know that his mother, Hakeem's mother's husband was there, as well as Mary's father. So his stepdad and his grandfather were there all along. I didn't even know. That's how much I was focused on just trying to see my son. Had I seen them, I probably would have said something and approached them and said hello or whatnot to them. But I didn't see them, y'all. I did not see them, right? So, third quarter comes up. My son don't play. Kind of expected, right? My son didn't play at all. He didn't touch the floor at all. Okay, he's looking at me like, Dad, I don't know how this is getting ready to work out. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how it's getting ready to work out either, son. And I think I fucked up. In my head, that's what I'm thinking. I think I fucked up, right? I hope my son get a chance to play something, man. Give him at least 2 more minutes out there, man, just to boost his morale, man. I'm sorry for taking him away during halftime where he should have been in there with his teammates, but that's what I felt and everything like that, man, right? I was running off my emotions, y'all, right? So, fourth quarter comes up. And lo and behold, get halfway into the fourth quarter, son still don't show up. He still can't, he's still not in there. The coach, my son is getting so irritated now. At this point, he like, the clock is winding down, shit ain't looking good, what's up, right? So now at this point, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I had my mind made up. I said, if he don't make it in the last 2 minutes of this game, in the fourth quarter, and they end up losing, if he don't make it, if my son don't get up in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, I had my mind made up, y'all. I'm getting ready to walk dead off this motherfucking bench and go directly on the floor, get my son, and tell him let's go. Because I was there anyways to not only watch my son, but to also go spend some time with him, man, after the game, chop it up with him, you know, go get something to eat and go ride, man, and take him back to Dixon, right? You know, this was supposed to be a proud moment and a proud day of me having my car, my Bonneville, you know, and being able to just be a little bit more independent as a man and a father, man. And this day was not starting out so good for me this Saturday, on that Saturday in October, late October. So, yeah, man, the last little 2 minutes came of the fourth quarter. Clock was still rolling. Other teammates on the floor. My son's head was hanging down low, much lower than it was the first time of the first half, man, before halftime. And I got off that bench, y'all. I walked towards my son, and I said, listen, let's go. Looked at his coach like I wish he would say something to me, you know, let's go, right? Mind you, his stepfather and his grandfather are there, and they're seeing this, right? So they're seeing this, and I didn't know they were seeing this, right? I didn't say anything to the coach. None of that. Nothing disrespectful, none of that stuff there. The only thing, right now I'm losing my connection, but we're gonna get back on track. Hey yo, the bills don't never stop, the hustle don't never stop. Working hard, you know you gotta eat, that'll never stop. The time always moving like the streets, that'll never stop. I used to be that nigga in the streets, that'll never stop. Now I gotta show, let's go, bitch, I'll never stop. This is for the player haters, all you racist motherfuckers. Listen to me, please, don't stop. Yes, we keep it going, follow me, it's time for us to go. I'ma take you there. The only thing that was disrespectful, and the only thing that I said to this coach, not to the coach, I didn't say anything to the coach. Only thing disrespectful was me walking out there, right? And, you know, again, like I said, I did not say anything to the coach. I said something to my son, and I looked at his coach when I said this, like I wish he would. And there it was, man. I said, son, let's go. Let's get out of here. Got my son to get up with me. I think in all actuality, when I got my son to stand up and walk off that court with me, I think it was like one of those superhero moments, man. You know, one of those moments that I wish I would have had. You know, I experienced that with my stepfather, Michael, before he passed away. You know, one of those superhero moments, man, you know, where that man that loves you, man, that's your father, whether he is your real father or biological father, you know, is there for you, man. And I did have that moment, or those moments with Michael, man. So this was one of those moments for me and my own son. And I think he was able to hold his head up, you know, and despite me doing that shit all ass wrong, man, ass backwards, man, he was able to hold his head up, right? So we get out of there, we get into the car. We get into my car. By the time we get into my car, hey, man, 5 minutes. I hadn't even made it out of the parking lot yet. His mama called me, man. Mary called me. And she like, hey, what in the hell are y'all doing? You know? I said, what are you talking about? See, and this is the part where I didn't know her husband and her dad were there, right? And she says, why did you just storm off the court with our son in the middle of the game or whatnot? It wasn't the middle of the game, it was the end of the game, but she asked why I did that. And I told her, I said, hey, you know, I was like, there's stuff going on, man, that I wasn't feeling. There was some stuff going on that I just wasn't feeling. And yeah, so that's why I did that. I walked off the court with our son because of some stuff I didn't agree with that was going on. And then she told me, she said, well, my dad seen you, and Tim, which was her husband, Tim was there as well. And they both seen you do that or whatnot, you know? So that was the reason why I had got the phone call so quickly, right? It didn't make sense at the moment until she told me that. And I was like, damn, you know, she can read people's minds. She knows what's going on or whatever, right? So she was a little upset. And me and my son, I was a little bit still upset, but my son, he seemed to be a little bit more at peace and a little bit more happier, right? So we ended up, she said it was still cool for me to go and take him out to eat. you know what I mean, and still have a moment with him and bring him home and drop him off. And that's what we did, man. And, you know, I stopped by after that, once I dropped him off, and stopped by and hollered at my grandmother and whatnot, and check on my brother as well, and just say hello to the rest of the family when I made my way into Dixon. And that was actually my first time going back to Dixon, man. You know? I don't know what it is about this phone and what's going on, but it's kind of turning off on me right now, right? Don't worry, we still gonna get it. We still gonna get through there. Where we going and all that stuff there, man. Don't worry, y'all. But yeah, that was my first time going to Dixon and making my way to Dixon in this Bonneville that I had gotten, and this new car of mine, even though it was a used car, and it was doing pretty good, man. It was getting me around. It was really doing its thing for me. I was really, you know, just enjoying the moment, man, of my own independence and whatnot, right? So, what else, man? So November was coming along. It was Thanksgiving coming along and whatnot. Oh yeah, and my son, he continued to still play basketball. He apologized to his coach, made things right, because his mother, of course, made sure that he nipped that in the bud and apologized to his teammates and his coach for what I had done. And I still didn't agree with that, you know, but it was what it was. She was the one raising him, and I was only a part of my son's life when I could be in those moments, man. So I understood why his mother told him to do that. That's something that my own mother would have told me to do had my father did some shit like that too, right? So I wasn't mad at her for that, you know. I was just hoping the best for my son, that he can figure it out with the basketball thing, because like I said, I was rooting for him, and I did want him to be athletic. So, like I said, moving into November, man, things was all good. Thanksgiving was around the corner. I had planned on stopping in Dixon again for Thanksgiving to be with my grandmother and my brother, and check on him as well and stuff like that. The holidays is always a tough time. That time of the year, the end of the year, is always a tough time, because shit just ain't the same no more, man. You know what I mean? It just ain't the damn same. My mother ain't there no more. You know, it's just my grandmother. As far as the lady matriarch in the family is just my grandmother. You know. So yeah. So like I said, you know, it's just my grandmother there, you know. So and don't get me wrong, I love my grandmother, man. I love my grandmother, you know what I mean. Rest in peace right now, man. My grandmother passed away in 2022. This was 2015 that I'm telling y'all about this story right here, man, in my life, right? So yeah, man, it was good to know that I was gonna be making my way home for Thanksgiving and catch up with my family as much as possible now, having my own car. And that's exactly what I did come Thanksgiving time. I was still going to church as well, occasionally with Nia and her dad, aka the pastor, the preacher, Reverend Darby as well. So you know, I still had a spiritual sense going on. You know, I still had all the pieces together, and I had my own apartment, and you know, everything was just really working itself out, right? And so 2015 was a very awesome year. And also I want to tell y'all, you know, because I've been leaving this part out as I've been moving the story further along, man, but my parole was going very good, transferring over from Dixon, Lee County to Winnebago County, you know, Rockford, Illinois. My parole was going very good, man, you know what I'm saying? And you know, there was no worries about me. In fact, at this point of my parole, which was going into November of 2015, I was scheduled to see my parole agent every 3 months, and it was getting ready to work its way to once every 6 months, going into the new year, right? And that's a hard thing to do, and I was wishful of that, you know. But right now, I had my parole my parole meeting scheduled for every 3 months. And that's something that you can't quite do unless you are really following the steps and taking the steps to rehabilitate yourself and change your life, right? So I was definitely on that. I was definitely in pursuit of that, and they could see that. And that scheduling of seeing my parole agent every 3 months actually came after I got my apartment, man. You know what I mean? It went from seeing my parole agent in Rockford once every month, and then eventually, once I got my apartment in March of that same year, 2015, you know, they had said, hey, listen, you can make it we can schedule you for every 3 months now, because you seem to be doing everything that you need to be doing, man, to keep yourself intact, and we like what you're doing, right? So I just wanted to let you guys know that, man, about my parole and stuff, man. You know, I was doing very, very good. And the only thing I like to do on occasion was, you know, drink a bottle on occasion, and also, you know, smoke me a little weed, man. I like to smoke me a little weed, you know what I mean? And in Illinois at the time, in 2015, weed was still not legal, not even close to recreational, you know, just barely making the medical, the medical appearance here in Illinois, right? So, but that shit didn't really move me like that anyway. I wasn't wired like that. I'm more so wired about getting this money and stuff like that. That's how my wheels have always turned in my own head, man. You know, I'm more about this money and what the next move is to get it, right? That's what I'm addicted to. That's what drives me. Anyways, Thanksgiving was coming up, right? And I ended up going to Dixon, like I said, and being with my family, stopping over there and everything. And then going into the new month of December of 2015, I had, you know, I wanted to do a lot of different things since I had this car, man. You know, and I was making some good money at TH Foods, man. I wanted to just do as much as I possibly can, man. You know what I'm saying? This Bonneville was the new love of my life. You know, I was in love with this 98 Bonneville that I had and the freedom that I was having and enjoying, right? So I had plans, man, to link up with my oldest nephew. I got two nephews, and my oldest nephew, my sister's firstborn, yeah, man, I wanted, he plays basketball, and he's rather tall, and he too had some struggling moments in his choice to play basketball and be athletic or whatnot. You know, he was having some struggling moments as well. But at the time, my nephew was I think he was in his junior year. He was in his junior year, you know, and he was on the B team. And like I said, he was struggling as well. So actually, I went to see my nephew in early December, right? I went to see my nephew in early December, and when I went to see him in early December, he was playing an organ. He was playing an organ, and man, I'll never forget. He was playing an organ, which is right next to Byron, where I see my son playing in Byron, and so I see my nephew playing an organ, right? And it was one of those type of tournament ordeals, you know, going into the holidays or getting closer to the holidays. So I had went to see my nephew play. He played. He got his playing time, y'all. He was playing. He got at least a good 10, 11 minutes worth of playing time between all 4 quarters, right? So I got to see my nephew play. It was a good time and all that stuff there. I was supporting him. His dad was there as well as his stepmother. And so that was just one of those moments where he was proud and I was just as proud for him and whatnot. And so the thing is, here's the catch, y'all. Here's the catch. I was running. This was the weekend when I was always able to catch up with whatever I need to do as far as this type of stuff with my family and going to these sporting events for these kids and stuff for my own and my nephew. I was always able to do this on the weekend. And remind y'all, I was working third shift. I was working 9 at night to 5 in the morning. You know, sometimes we get off early, sometimes we get off a little later than 6, you know what I mean? But I was working that third shift, and a lot of times when I'm working that third shift, and some of y'all might relate, you know, you don't get as much sleep, man, because you still got shit you got to do and take care of during the daytime, right? So, with that said, man, I was a little sleepless, man. I was running on dead-ass fumes, man. And by the time I got over here to Oregon and watched my nephew play and all this stuff there, man, and the day was up, and it was time for me to return back to Rockford, Illinois, riding up that lonely Route 2. And, you know, the fall time, it gets a little darker quicker. Man, by the time I got, it was like 5:30, 6 o'clock. And by the time I got maybe 3 minutes from Rockford. 3 minutes from Rockford on Route 2, man. This rural Route 2, man. You know what I mean? 3 minutes from Rockford. I was kind of dozing off, man. I was dozing off like a motherfucker, right? And I was trying my best to stay up. I'm rolling the window down. You know, I'm turning the music up. I'm doing whatever I can to try to stay up, man. And lo and behold, man, by the time I got to that red light, which is right there when you get through riding Route 2, and it's Main Street. It's the intersection of Main Street and Route 2. You know, man, I fell asleep. And I was coming to a red light, and there was somebody in front of me, and I remember that. And I fell asleep just for a little split second, man. I thought I had it, man. I fell asleep, and next thing you know, I smacked that car right in front of me. And I was only going about, I had my foot on the brake already, y'all, but I fell asleep. And I smacked that car, man, in front of me at about the speed of 15 miles per hour. And you don't think 15 miles per hour is enough to do any damage. But guess what? I hit that car, the airbag bust open out the steering wheel, bust my lip open, brought my head back in a very crazy way, and also shattered my windshield with all of that same impact right there with the airbags busting open. Because the airbag busted open in the driver's side as well as the passenger side, right? So, yeah, I get out the car and I go to see if the lady's all right, you know what I mean, and all of that. And you know what? The lady gets out and she says, yeah, my car is fine and whatnot. And she says, I remember you. She says, I remember you. You were just at the basketball game. You were just at the basketball game, right? So I was like, yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me. And she was like, well, you okay and everything like that, you know? She seen the airbags busted out my car, my windshield all the way completely shattered. She seen all that, man, right? So I said, yeah, I'll be all right. You know, I just got to get home, man. I'm tired, man. I've been working third shift. The weekend, I really didn't have any sleep, you know, and that's the reason for all this. She said, you didn't really do anything to my back bumper in my car. She said, you got the worst end of it. You know, there's no reason to file a report or anything like that. But I'm going to still call the police or whatnot just to make sure that everything is on record or whatever, right? So the police came and whatnot. I called Nia up, and I'm like, Nia, you won't believe this shit what just happened. She's like, what? I'm like, man, I just wrecked my car a little bit, man. I kind of fucked my car up. You know, I need you to come get me or at least come follow me or get in front of me so I can make my way home because I really, you know, I just want to make sure I make it home, man. I don't know what's wrong with my car other than what I can see. The airbags is both out in the driver's side and the passenger side, and you know, my windshield fucked up really bad. So Nia comes eventually. She sees the work, you know, steps out. We're closing up the whole little conversation with the police and the lady or whatever that I hit, and you know, end up driving home, man, at a very low speed of 15 to 20 miles an hour, same speed I was going when I hit that lady in front of me. And yeah, man, so I made it home, parked the car, and I knew right then, I was like, man, I gotta figure out how to get my windshield fixed, and I gotta button up these airbags in my damn car or whatnot, man, you know, some bullshit, right? So I did my homework the next couple days, and I found out that I could get my windshield replaced right up the street right there on Auburn. There's a little window repair place, a window replacement place for cars. And I think that at the time, you know, this is 2015, but at the time, they only charged me like a little less than $105, man, to do it, you know, total. You know what I'm saying? So I was really pleased with that. Got a brand new front windshield. As far as the airbag and the steering wheel, I just pushed that mug back in there, taped it up, you know, and then the same thing on the passenger side. I pushed it back in there, put the flap back on it, duct taped it up. It's crazy because I had to use the duct tape. You know, I know that was the strongest thing to like keep everything together and whatnot. I used some black duct tape, you know what I mean, and made it look like halfway decent. It's pretty decent. The only thing that was really fucked up other than that was the windshield, and the windshield got replaced, you know what I'm saying? And I was a fan of duct tape, man, because my grandmother was pretty big on the duct tape, man. She had duct tape all through her damn house, man, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't want duct tape all through my car. I just wanted enough to kind of like patch stuff up, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't intend having this car. I didn't intend on having this car that long anyway. It was just something to get me started, get me going and all that there, man, you know what I'm saying? So I got the car all patched up and all that stuff there, man. And, you know, as far as any other event or me riding and enjoying myself in this Bonneville, there was one more time that I had went out. But this time, and this was for my nephew as well. I went out for my nephew as well. One last time before the end of the year. And I had what I did though, I went to the mall. I went to the Cherryvale Mall over there off of Perryville Road in Rockford, Illinois. I went over there, got me some Christmas stuff together. I got me some Christmas stuff for my grandmother, and I got something for my son. Actually, what I did for my son was I brought my son to Rockford, and I spent like $500 on him. Get whatever you want. Took him to the mall, took him to some other little spots, clothing store spots and stuff like that there, and got my son well taken care of for that year, right? That's what I ended up doing for my son for the holidays. And that was a big difference from what it was the previous year when I had to drop a couple things off to him and didn't quite have the money, you know what I mean, to do what I need to do for my son to make it a good holidays for him. So this year I was on my game and I was doing what I need to do, you know what I'm saying? So proud moment right there. And then so I had got some other presents for the folks that, you know, like my grandmother and for my nephew. And my nephew's birthday is in December just like mine. Only thing is, mine is Christmas Eve and my nephew's is like, I want to say it's the 18th or like the 21st or something like that there, man, you know. But my nephew, his birthday is just a little bit before mine, right? So I went in the mall at Cherryville Mall. I got my nephew a badass NBA jacket with a lot of different NBA patches on there and whatnot. And my nephew was a big fan of Miami Heat. At the time, Miami Heat was the team that you wanted to be a part of or watching them if you was a fan of the NBA. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Big Three, you know what I'm saying? And they had already had a championship on their belt, under their belt already at this time, man. So Miami Heat, and me too, I was a fan of the Heat. And more so not because of LeBron, but because of that boy D Wade. Illinois, man. Illinois, we some real badass motherfuckers, man. You know what I'm saying? So Illinois, man, that's the reason why I was a fan of the Heat. And so my nephew was a fan of the Heat as well. So it was only right that I went and got my nephew a very cool leather jacket, a Letterman jacket at that, from the mall. That had the NBA Heat on there, Miami Heat, and some NBA logos on there, patches on there, and whatnot. It was pretty cool. And yeah, man, I got him a hat to go with it as well. And I wanted to drop that off to him personally. And I was just doing what I was doing, man. I was just enjoying life and just enjoying being able to be around my family when I wanted to be around my family and do stuff like that. So I went to surprise my nephew at another basketball event that he had, which was like out in like Morrison or something like that, the town of Morrison, or Mount Morris. It was in Mount Morris, you know. So it's like kitty corner from Oregon, you know, going the other way, going, I believe that is north, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, so I was going to the little town by the name of Mount Morris, and I was going out to see my nephew. So I went out there, but I didn't go in my car. Y'all. Malcolm was going to Chicago. Malcolm does a lot of, you know what I mean, going different little places and stuff like that. Malcolm needed my car, and he wanted to use my car because he had traffic tickets, man. And Malcolm had like 3 or 4 cars already, man. You know, he had a Volvo, he had a Mercedes, you know, he had different cars, man. So instead of letting me get the Mercedes, Malcolm let me get the Volvo, right? And I let him use my Bonneville. He took my Bonneville up to Chicago that day, and we switched cars, and I took the Volvo over to see my nephew. So that was another proud moment. You know, I got my license, SR22 or whatnot, reinstated. I'm doing legit shit, driving, and I got to pull up in a whole another car other than my own. And so it felt good to just be able to still be driving, man, to still be driving and going out wherever I wanted to go to. And driving from Rockford to Mount Morris, man, was quite a little ride, you know what I mean? So I enjoyed myself. I cleaned out Malcolm's Volvo, because Malcolm, you know, Malcolm doesn't, he don't tend to keep things up all the way to par, you know what I'm saying? I mean, in his other cars he does, which was one of the reasons why he gave me the Volvo anyway, is because he probably hoped that I would kind of, you know, touch it up for him. And I did. I went and vacuumed out, got a car wash, cleaned everything, you know. I was looking pretty damn good, you know what I'm saying, in that Volvo, man. Shout out to you, Malcolm. I appreciate that, man. But anyways, halftime came for my nephew, and I told him earlier when I was on the phone and making my way there, I told him I had a present for him for his birthday. And it was a birthday present and Christmas, just like how I got done when I was coming up, you know what I'm saying? But either which way, it's the thought that counts, right? So my nephew knew that I wasn't coming with no bullshit ass gift, and he couldn't wait to see what it was. So, yeah, man, it was a tournament or whatnot. So when my nephew got through playing the game and other games was going on, and he returned from the locker room, and their team was through playing for the day for that tournament, he came out. I went to the car, you know what I mean, went and got the jacket and the hat, showed him that. His dad liked it, you know, and my nephew, of course, he really liked it as well. And that was that, man. You know what I mean? It was December, and it was a hell of a day, and a hell of a year, and that was the cherry on the top. You know what I mean? For me, to end the year right there like that. And I just remember driving home, man, in Malcolm's Volvo, man. It was, I think that was a 2008 Volvo. And I just remember driving, man, sitting back in that leather, man, and just really, just like, I was just happy, man, where life was headed at that moment, man. You know, I was really, really happy, man. And there wasn't shit you could tell me, man. There wasn't shit you could tell me. I was focused, you know, and I was just happy to be there in 2015 doing the shit that I was doing and just heading in the direction I was headed, man. You know what I mean? So that is my story, you guys. And I'd like to say that is my Bonnie and Clyde story. You know what I'm saying? In my 98 Bonneville, even though I was in the Volvo at the end right there, but majority of everything else that I was telling y'all about was my whole experience with my 98 Bonneville and me having that freedom and that independence, you know what I mean, that I was really looking for, man. So I had my own apartment, had my own car, I was doing big things, things was looking really good. And yeah, man, I just want to tell you guys out there, man, that's what I want to end it on too, man. It's like, man, it gets greater later. And you're going to have your moment, man. And look, right now, I'm not just speaking to you guys, but I'm speaking to myself as well. You're going to have your moment where you like look up and you be like, okay, hell yeah, this shit feel good. All right? It's going to come. But the only way you're going to get to that moment is you got to keep fucking going, man. You got to go. We got to go. I'm going to take you where you really need to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to tell yourself that shit, man. All right? And I'm talking to myself as I'm talking to you guys, man. You know? That's the only way you're going to have that moment where you look up and you be like, man, this shit feel good. If you complain, if you make an excuse, what the hell you think you're going to get? You ain't never going to see that day. Or at least you're going to prolong the day when you is supposed to see better for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, I just want y'all to know, I'm standing here at San Pedro Drive and Lomas Boulevard. The Expo, man. The Mexico Expo, right? And I'm outside. And I don't give a damn how cold or how hot it is. I'm going to be wearing this black, and I'm going to be outside. And I'm going to make sure y'all get the content that y'all supposed to get. All right? So, that's all I got to say for y'all, man, today. You know what I mean? I didn't really touch base on my job stuff today because my job was still well intact, man. I was still at TH Foods. TH Foods was the place, man, that makes crackers, various kinds of crackers, and vegan crackers at that. And I was still there, and that job was still going very well for me, all right? So there was no need to talk about that. This was just about my independence and celebration of me having my own car, right? So that's all this was about. Bonnie and Clyde story. I'll be back with you guys, man, next week. That's all I got to say. That's all I got. I want to salute y'all. And I want to tell y'all, man, have a good weekend. Take care of yourself, all right?